What we often don't realize as believers is that sometimes what we want is not in our best interest. Even if what we want is right and correct, sometimes the right thing is not the best thing for you. Maybe you're considering to reconcile with some relatives, and your relatives admit that they are wrong and that they need to work on themselves. So you think, good, they don't act in a narcissistic way, so we can reconcile. We're a family, let's reconcile. But the Holy Spirit is telling you, no, don't do it. And here's why the Holy Spirit is telling you not to do it. If those people were narcissistic in the sense that they don't want to admit they were wrong, you would never consider reconciling with them. That's obvious. You're not dumb. You wouldn't reconcile with someone that doesn't want to admit they were wrong. So they admit they were wrong. They show remorse. So you think, okay, we can reconcile. But the Holy Spirit is telling you no. Here's why. Yes, they admit they're wrong, and yes, they have remorse. But they still are not delivered. So when you reconcile with them, they are still not delivered from what caused them to do wrong to you to begin with. Maybe they didn't do wrong to you directly, intentionally, but nevertheless, they were neglectful or wrong towards you because of some issue that's unresolved in them. So yes, they have remorse, and they will not do it again. But why did they do it to begin with? It's because there's something inside of them that's not dealt with. And yes, they have remorse. They're not blaming you. They're taking responsibility, but not the right way, because they're not delivered. So if you reconcile with them, they may not do a similar thing again, but what's haunting them will still haunt you. The thing that's in them that's not addressed haunted you by what they did to you. You had to heal from it. Now they will not do what they did to you. But what's in them that's not addressed will still haunt you if you're involved with them. So in this case, the Spirit will tell you, don't reconcile with them. Maybe there are some people that are out of line, and you think, let me force spiritual repercussions on them to put them in their place. And you're correct. They should be put in their place, absolutely. The prophets of old did it. Also in the New Testament it happens that believers put reprobates in their place from a spiritual point of view. It means from their point of strength in the spirit, they put the reprobate in their place. They didn't put reprobates in their place by your own fragile human strength, because that would go wrong. Because reprobates, they lose it and they become homicidal and suicidal. But it can be that in your case, those were telling you don't do it. Here's the thing. Sometimes when you enforce repercussions on the wrongdoing of worldly people, they will stop the wrongdoing they're doing, but they will only stop the wrongdoing because they want to flee from the repercussions that will come. So they were in relief seeking, and that's why they were doing the wrong. Now they're still in relief seeking by fleeing the repercussions. So what happened? They were seeking relief at someone else's expense, and you want to shut that down. And that's correct. That's a right thing to do as a believer. But God is saying that if you enforce those repercussions, they will know it's you that enforced them, and they will comply by not doing what they did anymore, but now they're fleeing from repercussions. So they're still fleeing. But because they stopped doing that wrong, you think that they've changed. And that is a deception. Now, you did not intend to deceive yourself. No. You wanted to do the right thing by shutting them down spiritually. And you should. But there are times, in specific cases, that God tells you, don't do it. Just shake the dust off your feet. You know why? Because if they stop the wrong they were doing, but they're still fleeing on the inside, you will perceive it as change. Others may perceive it as change. But the truth is, they haven't changed. They only became worse in their manipulation. Negative manipulation is, because there's nothing wrong with manipulation in itself. But in the world, people often use their leverage at someone else's expense. That's why the word manipulation has such a negative connotation with us. But anyway, they've become worse. And now they've learned how to use your faith to escape harm. Because they know that you walk by faith and you have power. So now they realize that, okay, they've experienced the power you have, in a very unpleasant way. They don't want to do it again. So now they will comply with you to withdraw from the power you have. So they can't avoid the power you have. They attempt to do it and it didn't work out well. So now they will cling onto the power you have. And you think that they're clinging onto you because they want to become born again, they want to learn from Christ. No, they want to learn how they can manipulate Christ through you so they can avoid the evil they're persisting in. So without you being aware of it, they're now using you to relieve themselves. That's why there are times God will tolerate evildoers getting out of hand, because alternative would be far worse. Sometimes God allows some situations to go way out of line in your life, because while those things go way out of line, you learn to rely on Him alone. You lose all those idols. You are a human being, you are a vulnerable creature, you're not the Most High. So when you use a lot of power, you can be tricked by the manifestation of that power. You're not tricking yourself, but you can be tricked by the manifestations of the power that you operate in. That's why Christ is telling you to rely on Him and not on your own understanding. You're not even allowed to rely on the faith you walk in. You are supposed to rely on Christ alone. Well, let me give an example. Let's say you have people that, let's say you had a guy in town and nobody could stand him. Everyone was kind of taking their piss off at him. One day, this guy became part of a gang, and the gang members went into town. They broke all the windows. They brought ruin in the town for the sake of that gang member. After that, everyone in town is smiling at him. They're very kind towards him, and they mean it. But why do they mean it? Because they don't want that thing to happen anymore, that his fellow gang members assault them. What's going to happen now? They now realize, okay, this guy has the gang behind him. We can't get rid of him, nor his gang. So what are we going to do? When we still have anger, but we can't project it on him, we're going to project it on someone else. And they will look for people in their community to paint in a dark way. And now they will complain with you, saying that they are victimized by that group, and then you and your gang will do justice, you think, by dealing with the creeps around them. But those creeps are raised by them. So they raise their own creeps, and now they want you to relieve them from their creeps. That's how it may go. So their quote-unquote change wasn't really a change. They didn't stop exploiting and stop seeking relief. So sometimes God will tell you, just shake it off. Sometimes God will tell you, just let him get away with it. For now. God will do that. And when he does that, follow his lead. He knows best. Agree with Christ.